Okay, this here is Margaret Bolton, and I'm over at Solomon Guthrie's home, and we're going to interview him this afternoon. And today is January 9th, February 9th, 1997. And we really want to thank you, Saul, for allowing us to come here and ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
And the first one is, what is your name from birth?
My name from birth is Solomon Guthrie.
Okay, where and in what year were you born?
I was born 1908,
Were you born here in Metlakatla?
Metlakatla. I was born in that house next to Glenn's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your mom and your father's names?
My mother's name was Rebecca Sumner. Christian name, they call it. English name. But I couldn't find her. Well, her name was on there. I couldn't make it out. It's not easy. Simpson name, you know. And then my father was Josiah Guthrie. But my mother said his name, I guess you've heard of his name, Lucascombe, and that's a child's name when they're small. When they're old enough and they have facets, they call it. Facets, when you invite everybody and pronounce the name. Now, maybe I didn't hear anything of it. I don't know. Maybe he did have. I don't know. But he had a brother with the name of Frank Guthrie. Agnes Guthrie's mother. That's your grandmother. They were brothers. And they have a sister. I forget her name. Alec Guthrie's mother. Yeah. Now you make them stand out. So later on we look at well because the young Guthrie here, you know thing about it.
Okay. You already told me how many brothers and sisters you had,
Yeah.
and then you told me their names. Now I want to know, who did you marry?
Who did I marry?
Mm-hmm.
I married Edna. Edna Milne. Silas Milne and Lydia Milne was her parents. Yeah.
Okay. Could you tell me the names of your children?
It's Bernard, Albert, Eddie, Edna, Claire, Glenn Guthrie, Bruce, Ron,
Glenn?
Billy, Hazel,
Selma? Selma?
Selma, there, and Marinell is the youngest. No, Jimmy is the youngest. He died early, car accident in Seattle. Eddie, I think I left Eddie off. He's up there with Bernard and Albert. How many on there?
4, 5, 10, 12 up there.
13. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, 12. That's right. Now, your question.
Oh, yeah, to what clan or traditional family do you belong? What clan or crest?
I belong to the Gitnack.angeak, and my crest is killer whale.
Okay. Did you have an Indian name, Saul?
I had. My grandfather gave me an Indian name, but I didn't write it down. I should have. Yeah. But I didn't have any way of getting a name. I didn't invite anyone. But I took care of my grandfather for 4 years. Here. He that's the one that we want today. Should have made the history. Oh, I listened to him every night. Stories, different stories.
And what was your grandfather? What was his name?
He slew it. Yeah, Sidney Campbell.
Oh, okay. Okay, Solomon, could you tell me the name of the elementary school that you went to?
Well, elementary school was the first one that was here. Metlakatla.
Okay.
I think that before that, I went to Dolphin School. I was 5 years old.
Okay.
I went to, a lot of us kids were there. I remember Reggie Estes and others, my age group. They were there in school. And they had, William Belton had a home for young girls to show them how to do cooking, different kind of cooking. They had some older woman that helps show them. And they have the boys home. Yeah. Hi. Right.
Okay, do you, who were your chiefs and other significant people in your childhood? A lot of us are the same way. We didn't have chiefs in our time.
Yeah.
So did you know of any people in your childhood that were important, significant?
Well, the only one kind of stands out here when I was a kid was my grandfather. And he slew it. And he was invited up to school a few times to speak to the students and speak Simpson. He couldn't, he doesn't know English. So he was something I remember him coming up to the school.
Okay, Saul, what are your feelings or your beliefs about the importance of passing your language to your children or your grandchildren? How do you feel about the language?
Well, I feel that we should never lose our language.
See you later.
I feel we should ask for a book. There are some books around that you will find Simpson. Now, one man that was here was Millie's father had a book, Simpson, and he got it from Canada, somewhere in Canada. Shows how it's pronounced. Outside of that, it'll be just a lost language if we don't do anything about it now.
Okay, if you think that it's important to say, if you think that, if your feelings are that you should pass it on to your children and your grandchildren, could you tell me why it's important to do that?
To identify us, where we came. We have history in Canada. We have history when you remember the flood in Noah's time. Our ancestors have a history. They drifted up above, where Prince George is at, somewhere below the Hazelton. That's where they landed in that flood. And they were there for many years before they done. I have a book on it here in the file. And it took many years to get down. They didn't get right down to the coast. They moved down so far. And you see where they camped alongside Skeena. Sheehan, they call it Skeena. Yen is cloud. And every morning, my grandfather told me, every morning you see that fall above the river. So they call that river Sheehan, Gitnack.angeak, Ketchikan after all. And now you see the Gitnack.angeak camp there. My grandfather told me the reason why they selected that area. There's a lot of sockeye there. Nothing but sockeye. And that's when you get your supply of fish. The best smoked fish. Gitnack.angeak. Yeah. Okay.
I have to ask you this, that the Simpson name you just used, that identifies that place where they did that name identify the place where they were, where they stayed?
Yeah. That's where they stayed. This river. They taking a lot of food for them, he said, there in Gitnack.angeak. He said if they want dags they call it, that, what you call it, ice cream, something like ice cream. When they want ice in the summertime, my grandfather told me, and they send a young man, or more than one young man, up the woods. Go up and get ice. Get ice that they use mixed with eggs. Yeah. Anytime in the summer, they said. Now, one time, they had a bassets, and they had a eggs, a big canoe, about six feathers long. That's how they go by measure. Kalkai, one feather. Your arm, one feather. Yeah. Kalkai, one. Kal is one. Kalkai. Now, imagine big 7 feet, 7 times 6, 42 feet long, and the men on both sides get laughingberry leaves to hold in their hand to make, what do you call it now? Dags. Yeah. And they start eating. Now, that thing didn't even go down at all with all the people that were there now. So, when everybody's full of dags, one of the crazy guys got in there, climbed and crawled around. Boy, my grandfather said, you see the dags go right down. Dirty body. Well, they said they're not dirty. They said they go in the river there and clean their body. But there was no soap in these. Yeah. Okay?
Okay. What events happened in school that in your adult life affected your speaking of your first language? How was it when you went to school using your language? Using Shimalia in school, how were you affected by it?
Well, the school before this one here, they gave us a card that you wear. No Tsimshian speaking on the school ground. A little while I lost mine, you know. And that's bad when they did that. They shouldn't have done that. They should teach us how to read Tsimshian language. That's how we lost our Tsimshian. After that, then we speak English all the time on the school ground and at home. Even my mother, I taught her too a few words. You know. She understood some of the English language, and she can read the Bible. And she was a Bible Sunday school teacher for a while up here when I was a kid. You know. Sometimes she'd ask me, son, how do you pronounce this? You know, what I learned in school and what she wanted to learn while Sunday school teacher. So we help each other then.
Okay, what effect did school have on your adult life? Could you tell me any stories about while you were going to school, things that happened to you?
Yeah. Well, it helped me to learn all I know. It helped me to learn my economics. That's one of the things they had there was economics, you know. And it showed me how I could save money. That's one thing. It don't sound big, but about helping me when I raised my big family. Yeah. It wasn't easy to imagine raising that many kids. But I raised them all. I built me the first boat I built was a Clare. I didn't build it myself. I financed it, but I paid the man to work on the boat, the Clare. That's what I learned from economics. And then I built the Selma. That's a picture over there. I built it right down here. I was going to build it for 2 years. I figured I'd run out of money the first year. But in April, it looked like I'll be able to finish it. So I consulted with my wife. I don't want her to starve with the kids. I told her, what do you think? Do you think we'll be able to finish this boat without hurting us here? So we both agreed that we went all out, launched the boat in 1st of June when that boat was launched. And I made good money out of that boat. All of us fishing, sailing, and hand logging. I did a lot of hand logging. It took me 2 years to hand log in order to build this home. 48 by 16. No, 48 by 28 feet wide. Yeah. So I got all my family in this house. We're all born and raised here in this house here. Yeah.
Okay. Could you tell me about the village where you were raised? What could you remember about this town? You have any stories you could tell me about growing up here?
Yeah. Well, town of Metlakatla. When I was a kid, you have a bylaw to go by. They have a bylaw to go by. And they have a free labor every year, right after New Year. They do what has to be done to upkeep the community, you know. And I remember what really stood out there when I was a kid. I could see the men start repairing sidewalk, starting by close to V.A. Haldane store or close to the old post office. That's where they started that day. End of the day, they went down to Buchan's sidewalk and free labor. Boy, you ought to see this men work. They were anxious to beautify their community. Duncan encouraged them. We want this this should be ours, and we want it in good shape. And William Duncan really taught our people how to take care of their whatever they own. He was taught that. That man sacrificed his life for our people. I could see that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the last question that I have, you answered already, but it asks, to tell me about the town where you spend your adult years, and what can you remember about it, and how did you make your living?
I make my living fishing. I started fishing when my father died when I was 14 years old, and my poor mother struggled to try and keep me alive, me and my brother, Willard, and the older one was Steve Guthrie, 3 of us. But Steve died early, had a trouble with his leg, TB of the bone. Them days, they didn't have anything like penicillin like they have now. Same way with Willard. You got Willard's picture there. That TB of the leg, the foot, Willard's got hurt in ice skating. And in the springtime, he got in on the high jumps. That's what really hurt his foot. And they cut off. The only way to stop gangrene when they sit in, they cut off part where gangrene sits. Didn't work, stop there, so they had to cut it off up here again. Twice, and sent him up to June was the only Indian hospital at the time. So he died. That's how he died. They cut his leg. Them days, we don't have much to keep us alive. That's why our old people die early. It isn't just because they're Simpsonians, they die early. No medicine. William Duncan would give some of the pills like aspirin or things like that he gets from outside. Give it out to people, some days. I've seen him walk around, house to house, when I was a kid. So I, for one, admire William Duncan for giving his life for the Simpsons. He was 80-some years old, 84, when he died here. He didn't take off that boat. He stayed right here. He tried to run the cannery for our people to work there, but not enough money there. He didn't raise enough money, but he tried his best to support Simpson. Yeah.
Okay, before we close and before we put everything, shut everything down, is there any advice you would want to give to the younger generations?
Advice? Well, I figured we should learn heavy on economy, how to save here, there, There's ways, that. Economics. Like me now, I put some of my few dollars I have. I put it in Franklin, and I get 7% interest, where you don't get it here. The bank goes as high as 5, and time certificate, but it's not as good as Franklin's. So, but I learned too late.